Hello, everybody. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. This is the Agree to Disagree show. Yes, we've been doing daily shows roughly around this time. More like 9 or 10 or 11. We've been changing the schedule a little bit. Try to settle into the proper time. And you know what? This is the internet, man. Maybe the perfect time is whenever the good time is for that day. Sometimes you have errands to run, sometimes you have things to do. And I guess that's the case for everybody, right? You know, there's a lot of opportunities to work remotely, and you work within the schedule that you have. And sometimes you go a little earlier, sometimes you stay a little later, sometimes you work around some stuff. That's just life. To think that nobody has an appointment to make or an errand to run or something totally random that throws a wrench into your day, that stuff happens. But today was a strange day, actually, getting things squared away. I had the show set up on our streaming software 3 or 4 different times. And for a reason that I can't quite comprehend, it kept restarting. But we're here, and we're going to unpack the news. Thank you for joining us here on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the astronauts returning. I'm loving it. This is the type of story we're supposed to get excited about. You know, little Timmy fell down the well. The old American media has failed you. There you go. We are streaming. We're going to talk about the However you're watching our show, hit like, hit subscribe, please. And so we can try to incorporate your conversations into today's program. I love doing that. It is one of my favorite things to do. Let's get the captions going. Oh, yeah, so we're going to talk about the astronauts returning. Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about the Autopen Treason update. You heard about the Autopen Treason stuff? The Unselect Committee framed President Trump, the Kinzingers and the Cheneys, the Schiffs, right? Who else was on that? I just remember Kinzinger and Cheney. I always refer to them, but there's a whole cast of characters on the group that was set up to frame President Trump as an insurrectionist so that he could never win office again. Yeah, that didn't work. Oh boy, it didn't work. So much so that Butler was employed. So much so that the golf course attempt was employed. And we're seeing a rise in terrorism. So we're going to discuss Tesla, the attack on Elon Musk, the attack on MAGA, the attack on common sense, the attack on reason, the attack on the American way of life, really. And things have changed. We're also going to give you a message from the president about the CBP Home app, I think it's called, CBP One or CBP Home, about self-deportation. Do it the easy way or do it the other way. Really just trying to get a grip on what America is at this point. We're also going to talk about the Houthis. Why are we involved with Houthis and the Blowfish? No, not the band. The Houthis, there's different perspectives. I understand anyone that says, look, Trump's starting a war. Look, he's part of the New World Order. Look, he's doing the bidding of Israel. Look, Trump is a New World Order puppet. See, I told you he was just like Obama, exactly the same. And you go, all right. On the other hand, you got a group of people acting like modern day pirates, and the United States, was it called the Navy when Jefferson started it? I don't know. But the United States shipping division of the Army and I know we weren't supposed to have a standing army. Okay, I get it. I know, I totally get your perspective, but the reason the modern equivalent of the Navy was started by Jefferson is because of the Barbary pirates. They were robbing all the merchant ships, the vessels that were going by. The pirates were stealing all the stuff. And you said, all right, we're not doing that anymore. And you went in and you took care of business. And you made an arrangement and said, you're not going to do this anymore. Capiche? If you got a problem with that, we're going to have a conversation about that. So Is that an offensive war that the United States need to stay out of? Oh my gosh, you've attacked Iran. Well, look, if Iran is doing this, we need to talk about it. We need to discuss it. I don't want to get into Iran any more than any of you do. But are we okay with piracy on the seven seas or are we not? And don't think this isn't all connected. President Trump has talked about expanding shipping production, boat production in the United States to actually manufacture and build this stuff in this country. Why did we ever get away from this in the first damn place? But you wonder, why is the president so interested in Greenland, the shipping lanes? Why is the president so interested in Panama, the shipping lanes? Do you not understand the goal of playing Risk? It's a global game, and you're either connected the right way or you're disconnected. And unfortunately, we've had presidents in this modern era that really haven't worked for you. They haven't given a shit. If I could be so bold, if I could be so frank as to lay it all out there. It's one big club, and you and I aren't in it. Here's a question of the day. Who said that? David Ben. How are you, David? Let's start getting the comments rolling here. Let me put this up on the screen. Yeah, please check in, type your name or type your initials and tell us where you're connected to us from. Love hearing from all of you out there. Try to incorporate your questions and comments and jokes into the show. As is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, the New American Media, please do a search on, link up with us in the other social media profiles that you have. And if you don't have another one, I encourage you to at least get X and Rumble. Rumble's like the new YouTube minus the goofy censorship. And X is like, oh, the most important app out there probably. Because you can't trust Meta, you can't trust Google. Or, better said, you can trust Meta to do what Instagram and Facebook have always done, which means you cannot trust them at all. And you can trust Google to be exactly what you know Google to be. The Google search engines are so bad, I don't even Google things anymore. Too many times I would try to type in an issue and it would auto-populate the Democrat slant. It would auto-populate the globalist slant, the New World Order slant, giving you the wackiest, most backward interpretation of the event that I'm searching for. I don't need that. Grok has done a fairly good job as of late. When I try to search for something, it'll distill the issue in a paragraph or two in a way that's fairly reasonable. You should never believe all of the slant you get when you read a story. You could read the same event written in Breitbart as you could on CNN or MSNBC or even Fox some of the time. Maybe not half the time, but they do enough stupid stuff. You just wonder about Fox. Well, you know about Fox. They're not what they used to be. And they got a couple of great shows, but even then, you got to watch out for that company. But it's important to be connected with us in the various places that we are. X is the best right now because we know you can get the message delivered, and Rumble. It's just we have millions of views, 1,800 videos over 14 years on YouTube. We get better numbers on Rumble a lot of the time. 6,500 subscribers on YouTube over the past decade and a half. And that's how suppressed our stuff is over there. So it's not really a good place to build the foundation. It's not a good foundation to build a house upon is what I'm trying to get at. So anyway, check us out. It's scrolling at the bottom here, the place to find us. Just search for The New American Media, Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search The New American Media. On Telegram and Signal, we're TNAM for The New American Media. So TNAM and TNAM chat on Signal and Telegram, private groups. On X, we're at American_media_. Sub to our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. And then if any of you are interested in making a donation to this independent media conglomerate consisting of me and it's a lean ship. Let me say that. I've had a lot of amazing people collaborate over the years. But did just file the corporate taxes and go into all 4 conventions and the inauguration. Oh, and the documentary into Western North Carolina, and upgrading the camera and the studio and the laptop, they do add up. So right at the bottom there, you could subscribe to assist us on patreon.com/thenewamericanmedia or on Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installment. So with that said, once again, there's our documentary scrolling at the bottom of the screen, Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way. It's on Rumble and YouTube. Click on it, share it, leave a comment, give it a thumbs up if you would. I don't want to forget about those people down there because I would not want them to forget about me. So let's go ahead and jump into today's information, shall we? I'm going to start on X. I have not started on X the past couple of days, so let me go ahead and switch it up here. This should be appearing. There we go. All right, so here's a message from President Trump. The CBP Home app. This is new and this is important. You want to spread the word, and this is the way it should have always been.
People in our country illegally can self-deport the easy way, or they can get deported the hard way, and that's not pleasant. The Biden administration exploited the CBP One app to allow more than 1 million aliens to illegally enter the United States. Now my administration is launching the CBP Home app to give people in our country illegally an easy way to leave now and self-deport voluntarily. If they do, they could potentially have the opportunity to return legally at some point in the future. But if they do not avail themselves of this opportunity, then they will be found, they will be deported, and they will never be admitted again to the United States, ever again. You're never coming in. Using the CBP Home app to...
By the way, did you catch that? That was a not so subtle reminder. There's an easy way to do this, and we might be able to sort this out once we run some proper background checks. Once there's a process. You don't just sneak in. There's a process to it. If you want to be a citizen, you got to learn our Bill of Rights. You got to learn our way of life. You have to assimilate to become an American. You don't just bring you and where you're coming from here and changing here. You change yourself to become a member of this team. Whatever Biden was doing, we still don't understand what Obama, Biden were doing. It never made any sense. Like we tell Zelensky, we're very sorry you ever listened to a deep state Democrat. We would encourage you to never do that. These are people that have a less than 3 in 10 approval rating. What was I seeing yesterday? 29%. These are not very popular people. These are liars. These are people who are trying to overthrow the United States and permanently change our voting demographic. They've been lying to you. They've been using you as a pawn. They've been trying to get you set up with fake Social Security numbers and fake payments. And it's all the cards are turned upside down. We're looking at all of it right now. We apologize on behalf of the hassle you've gone through because you made the mistake of listening to a deep state Democrat. The deep state Democrats do not speak for the American people. In fact, they never have, but they found a very clever way to obtain power, maintain power, exploit power, and commit various criminal acts while in power. On the negative side, it's unfortunate we had to go through all that. On the positive side, we see it all, and this is the unraveling of all of it. It's going to be a strange time, but just pay attention to who the good people are and who the bad people are. And there's a lot of good immigrants that wanted to come here and make a better life, but there's a process. There's a way to do that. And those people lied to you. They just said, yeah, just come on in, sneak in. We don't need any information from you. It's okay to collect free money. It's like, man, the people here are struggling. We went to the Bronx. We went to Chicago. We're talking to people. They don't want to see newcomers getting any assistance when they are struggling. They are residents of this country, and they are saying, help us. And that's what Make America Great Again is, trying to improve the lives of Americans by lowering the cost of eggs, the exact opposite of what Biden did by killing 100 million chickens, was it? 150 million chickens? Whatever the number is. If someone put it in the comments, if someone goes on Grok and take a look. Lowering the price of gasoline, yeah, that helps. When you cut inflation When you cut excessive, unnecessary spending like Doge is doing, just say thank you. That's going to elevate the purchase price of the Federal Reserve note, of the dollar, of the currency. It's going to slow inflation. There's a very complex algorithm, a set of monetary dominoes that start to fall, but you can ask almost every intelligent person, is it better to spend excessive amounts of money and put it on a credit card that we can never pay off? Or is it better to cut every non-essential thing and try to focus on the fact that we haven't been running an accurate accounting? We haven't been fiscally responsible. God, when is the last time? In 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, since 1913, 112 years? Really, maybe since the Federal Reserve came in and said, we're the banksters. We're going to print your money now, and you're going to owe us interest. That sounds like the overthrow of a nation to me. How does that sound to you? So now you have crypto, you have a whole bunch of different options. But inflation is a real thing. So much so that you hear, oh, no, trust the plan. Trump is intentionally trying to inflate things by 20%. You're going, all right, I can't with this trust the plan. Every single thing that's happening is part of the plan. Okay. All right. But the fact is, all we can tell is all we can tell. And it seems like in these 2 months, this administration is trying to prioritize safety, removing dangerous people, violent people, people with criminal records who did not come in here legally. We're trying to make life better for the people in this country, trying to stop a war in Ukraine and Russia, trying to return stranded astronauts, get more egg production going because the last guy killed all the chickens stupidly. Pretty much as an exaggerated response. Hold on. Pretty much as much of an exaggerated response as you saw with COVID. Shutting the entire society down. In hindsight, did that make sense? Not so much. Did banning therapeutic options make sense? No, it never did. And it cost the lives of people, including my brother. Couldn't get the right amounts of hydroxychloroquine, couldn't get it prescribed, couldn't get it administered. Ivermectin, couldn't get it prescribed, couldn't get the right dosage, couldn't get it administered. Monoclonal antibodies, demonized by the administration after they were being proven to be effective down with DeSantis in Florida. Then they couldn't figure out where to get them. Bad information was passed out. And my brother his understanding was he couldn't receive that, but it was 6 miles down the road. But the doctor was terrified to do their job, and they were being threatened if you even thought about hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, vitamin C drips, the Merrick protocols, monoclonal antibodies, and there was legitimate human suffering and casualties that occurred because of that. My family's wrecked. We'll never be the same. But these over-the-top responses, you saw that situation in Minnesota with George Floyd. You saw what the Democrats did to weaponize that into nationwide attacks in a coordinated effort of terrorism, is what it was, terrorism. And that's the response. And so we're at a strange crossroads where some really bad people have been in positions of power, abusing their power, violating civil liberties for a long time. And it's a radical paradigm shift back to common sense right now. You might disagree with some policies, but there's not a lot of these that are all that far off. If you care about taking care of the people you're supposed to care about. So President Trump continues here.
Avail themselves of this opportunity, then they will be found, they will be deported, and they will never be admitted again to the United States ever again. You're never coming in.
So that's the play. You get to pick your situation. Do you want to use the app and go back? And there's a chance you can come back. That is the olive branch saying, we're not Joe Biden. We make no excuses for Joe Biden. As a sign of good faith, go back and get back in line. You got kicked out of the nightclub. Okay, you guys came in. I get it. Open up the back door. Everybody out. Close the door, lock it. Everyone to the front. You're all getting ID'd again. You're all getting a wristband. You're all paying a cover charge. You're all getting the stamp. That's what Trump is, the bouncer. He's asking you, what would you like? Or if you're going to be hiding in the bathroom, knowing darn well what's happening, or you will be found. They're going to sweep the place, make sure everything upstairs, downstairs, everyone out. And if you don't, you're not allowed back in the rest of the night. It's a pretty obvious decision here.
Using the CBP Home app to leave the United States voluntarily is the safest option for illegal aliens and our law enforcement. It also saves the U.S. taxpayer dollars and valuable CBP and ICE resources. And all of those resources are necessary to focus on dangerous criminal aliens. And that's what we're focused on. The CBP Home app is now available free across all mobile app stores. And I encourage those who have violated our laws to use this option today. Do it right and come back into our country. Do it wrong and you'll never be back again.
Do it the easy way or get deported the hard way. What did you think of that? What did you think of that? I mean, it's very clear. It's very straightforward. What's up, Kenneth? Howdy, howdy, howdy. All right, so let's take a look at the Houthis. Brad Thor is a famous author. #1 New York Times bestselling author. Latest. Yeah, he's someone you want to listen to the opinion of on some of this stuff. Is this his official account? Only 85,000 followers. You'd think he'd be a lot bigger than this one. Either way, he's someone who I believe Brad Thor is on the analytic red cell team. Let me actually ask that question. How many chickens did Biden kill? Remember when I said someone Google that? I'm someone. I'm going to Google that. No exact number. 111 million birds have been affected. Okay, so we'll ask, is Brad Thor on the analytic red cell team? I believe so. Oh, he's not currently on it, but he has served as a member of the Department of Homeland Security's analytic red cell team unit in the past. This program established to brainstorm potential terrorist scenarios in anticipation. They invited Thor to contribute his creative perspective, realistic scenarios informed by his rather than an ongoing operational role. Exact dates of this participation aren't widely specified, but it's referenced across multiple sources tied to his professional background. So from Reuters, the Yemen's Houthis won't dial down under U.S. pressure or Iranian appeals. So what you're hearing is that they are, well, these are Houthis from Yemen, and the story is that Iran is funding them and directing them, or they're not. The Houthi minister says the group is now at war with the United States. Iranian sources say Tehran told Houthis to cool tensions, so Iran is saying stop it. Knock it off immediately. Iran does not dictate a policy to Houthis, says the minister. Trump says he will hold Tehran responsible for Houthi actions. So he's saying, bullshit, we know exactly who you are, just like we know who's committing the terrorism across the United States right now. We see it. We know who's funding it. We're looking at the deep state Democrats, the one that had the Summer of Love 5 years ago. They love their terrorism. You look at who's funding it. You look at Act Blue. You look at all the money laundering allegations out there. You start putting the pieces together. So this administration is saying, no, Iran, you're behind this. We know you're behind this. We're not letting you get off the hook, and you're not going to pretend you're not. So we'll see what happens here. Jamel Amir spoke to Reuters late on Monday after the U.S. launched a wave of strikes in areas of Yemen controlled by the Iran-aligned Houthis, who said last week they were resuming attacks on the Red Sea shipping to support Palestinians in Gaza. And the U.S. is just entwined in Gaza, entwined in Ukraine. Two senior Iranian officials told Reuters, you can't really trust Reuters, but, we'll give you what they're saying at least. Two senior Iranian officials told Reuters that they just don't have as good a batting average. There's other sources that, hell, there are sometimes I'll consider rumors to have a higher likelihood of being accurately reported based on my mathematical computation and amalgamation of the other topics that swirl around. So if 90% of the story checks out from the other things I currently understand to be accurate, then I would be more likely to, in a lot of circumstances, not every time, but I might be more likely to say, well, yeah, the story's got to be true, or it's likely to be true. All the other points that are made in this story, that tracks. Now, unless this thing is the outlier, it seems like that's what's going on. Anyway, not as big a fan of Reuters. Two senior Iranian officials told Reuters that Iran had delivered a verbal message to the Houthi envoy in Tehran on Friday to cool tensions, and that Iran's foreign minister asked Oman, which is mediated with the Houthis, to convey a similar message to the group when he visited Muscat on Sunday. Both officials asked not to be named. So you can't really ever trust an unnamed source. There's red flags in here, but Iran hasn't made public comments. President Trump said he'll hold Iran responsible for any attacks. There will be no talk of any dialing down of operations or ending the aid blockade in Gaza. Iran is not interfering in our decision, but what is happening is that it mediates sometimes, but it cannot dictate things, Amir said in his first comments. Speaking from Yemen's capital, which was hit by U.S. strikes, he said he had not been informed of any message Iran delivered to the Houthi envoy in Tehran. So you got things dialing up. President Trump withdrew the U.S. from a 2015 deal between Iran and 6 major powers that curbed its sensitive nuclear work in exchange for sanctions relief, has stepped up a maximum pressure campaign of sanctions on Iran since returning to office for a second term in January. The U.S. is threatening Iran and hitting Yemen. Now, all scenarios are possible. We will do what they do to us. If they are hitting us from the U.S. aircraft carrier Truman, we'll retaliate by hitting Truman, the Houthi foreign minister said. All right, so there's more to the story, but go ahead and check it out. That's some of the background. But Brad Thor sums it up. The Houthi minister says, we are now at war with the U.S. The U.S. says, see you again soon. See you soon again. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Escalation likely, according to this report from Horizon Reports. U.S. bombs Yemen for the second night. U.S. warplanes launched more than 47 air raids on multiple towns in Yemen on the second night of strikes, targeting at least 7 provinces as the death toll rises to 53. Yeah, Pete Hegseth is not messing around. Hey, Frankie, what's up? Hi, everybody. Yeah, you owe Frankie a Coke. Whatever that means. Not taking a bump like Hunter, are you? Is that how you do Coke? You snort it? I never have intentionally done cocaine. I might have tipped a bartender a little too much in Mexico once. That's a whole other story for another day. So yeah, this is ramping up over here. We're going to have to keep our eye on the story. Mike Massey saying the Houthis are getting destroyed, and that gets the prices of goods down around the world. The fact that they are backed by Iran is just a plus, but I don't think war with Iran is the outcome. I could be wrong, but I've seen videos coming from Iran a few months ago, and their people look like they're getting tired of their current government. Don't think a conventional war is necessary, just more sanctions. Plus, when has Trump put our soldiers at risk? And he wants to get us out of the Middle East. So that's one perspective. Jeremy Hill saying protecting our service members isn't starting a war. Preventing our ships from being attacked by Houthi terrorists isn't starting a war. The rest is just leftist noise like the cost of eggs, which have dropped precipitously. So keep that in mind as this begins to escalate. Here is one of the astronauts discussing coming home. This is Butch Wilmore. They're scheduled to land, I believe, at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, creator of the universe, grand architect of the universe, supreme being, almighty one, the omnipotent energy that directs whatever this holographic simulation is, or whatever the heck. Send your angels to protect and watch over that mission to return these astronauts. So mote it be. Amen. There you go. Put some good energy out into the universe about that. I love the story, the space travel. I'm hooked. I am hooked. I can see it now. I see it now. It feels like running up to the International Space Station is like taking a flight out to Vegas. It's doable. It's very doable. And just all the Elon hate is really stupid. It's transparent. It's just the deep state having a conniption fit because we figured out how you've been money laundering to steal from us to then turn your attacks on us. It's one thing to have a difference of opinion. It's another to try to destroy people you disagree with. We're sick of that shit. We're sick of being targeted for destruction because we have a disagreement on life and on policy. It's not supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be that way. That's called terrorism. That's not cool. What is cool? Space travel. So let's take a watch of this video here. It's lined up pretty good. I'll just play it here. Butch Wilmore.
We're all the product of our...
So what do we got? It says, Butch Wilmore is the NASA astronaut who's been stuck in space for 286 days. And this says Mark Strassman. Maybe Mark Strassman is talking. Let's take a watch.
We're all the product of our life experiences, and this extended business trip of yours certainly qualifies. What is your life lesson or takeaway from these 9 months in space?
What a great interview process. Like this, we should be watching this 24/7. This is the coolest Truman Show you've ever seen. Why isn't this a 24/7 story nonstop on CNN like COVID was? This is just interesting. And remember when you used to be able to have a little bit of pride in your country, doing big things, doing cool things? Anyway, what's the takeaway after these 9 months in space?
Well, in answer to your question, I can tell you honestly, my feeling on all of this goes back to my faith. It's bound in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He is working out his plan and his purposes for his glory throughout all of humanity, and how that plays into our lives is significant and important. And however that plays out, and I am content because I understand that. I understand that he's at work in all things. Some things are for the good. Go to Hebrews chapter 11. Some things look to us to be not so good, but it's all working out for his good for those that will believe. And that's the answer. So thanks for asking.
It's just a cool story. I'm watching it. Very interested on it. Very interested in following the story. My understanding is they come down at 8 p.m. tonight. I think I did a Grok search, and that's what it told me. You know what? Let me just triple check. What time astronaut return today? I think it was 8 o'clock. But if you want to tune in, I do want to take a second and do it. Tuesday, March 18th. Oh, okay, yep. I'm glad I told you. It's very earlier. Very earlier. It's very earlier. It's very earlier. Get it earlier. 5:57 EDT. What the hell's EDT? Is that Eastern Standard Time? When did EDT come around? I missed the memo. I don't even know what EDT is. What time is... NASA will provide live coverage of the re-entry and splashdown starting at 4:45 EDT in EST. Difference between EDT and EST. Eastern Daylight Time and Eastern Standard Time. used interchangeably in casual contexts, but technically they differ due to daylight savings time. On March 18th, the U.S. is still under daylight savings time, which began March 9 and ends on November 2nd, 25. During this period, EDT is in effect, not EST. Oh my God. Why is it? Why are we? When has it always been this way? And I'm only now noticing the difference. I was trying to coordinate my conversation with Adam Kokesh. Go back on Rumble and YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit like, however you're watching today, by the way. But if you go back a week or two, I interviewed Adam. Haven't talked to him in years. It was good to catch up. Go check out the interview. He calls me a pussy for not building my Earthship already, I believe is what he was getting at. And why I haven't completely opted out of this system. You know, there's libertarians, there's pragmatic conservatives, MAGA members. We all have a lane, you know. But yeah, I remember coordinating the time. There was a hiccup or two in there. Almost confirming, not confirming, thought we confirmed, had the wrong day, whatever. That was all on me. But then I was like, wait, EDT, EST, EST, EDT. What's the difference? Because you're going to the Arizona, but then Arizona doesn't do the daylight savings. I'm going, what the hell time is it? You should just minus 2 hours or add an hour, depending if you're in California, which I was, or Eastern Standard Time. So anyway, that was a lot to tell you. 5:57 EDT, assuming good weather conditions, and splashdown 4:45 p.m. EDT. NASA live coverage. Check it out. I'm excited by the story. All right, let's go to Caroline Levitt here. She is talking about the attacks and how it's connected to Israel, apparently. We're back at this again. All right. Iran, Israel, the United States, Houthis.
Well, the Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America, will see a price to pay. All hell will break loose. And all of the terrorists in the Middle East, again, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, Iranian-backed terror proxies, and Iran themselves should take President Trump very seriously when he says he is not afraid to stand for law-abiding people. He is not afraid to stand up for the United States of America and our friend and our ally, Israel. Well, the Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America, will see a price to
Oh, I don't have sound. Doggone it. How long has that been? Sorry, guys. See, that's why I appreciate the comments. Oh, that was insufferable. My apologies. Yes, my kingdom for a producer. My kingdom for a producer. It's all right. It's been one of those days, folks. Luke Radowski, what I was saying here, he said, many people are getting this wrong. The Houthis did not block the Red Sea. They threatened to if the ceasefire is not continued in Gaza, but also they can't block the Red Sea. No, they did not attack an aircraft carrier. They failed, and they always failed too. So, Luke tries to get things right. Sound off. 1, 2. Thank you. All right, it's back. Yeah, that was a glitch there from when that clip was playing. But look, Luke tries to get things right. You see him on with Timcast all the time. We Are Change. So Luke is saying like this Houthi thing is a ruse. I believe, not to put words. I need to book Luke on the show. I've interviewed him before. Ran into him a couple times this year at the conventions and inauguration, maybe. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, the Libertarian Convention for sure. We talked for a bit. All right, so let's watch it. The Amuse account is saying Trump has taken the fight to the Houthis. Biden has allowed the Houthis to, this says first, to launch to something ballistic missiles at the Navy and U.S. commercial shipping over 4 years. And Trump is ending that. So they're saying this has been going on for 4 years, that they've been making threats and causing problems here. Look at this. This video from Straight Week. There's a Middle East reporter for Top News. He's looking at some sort of news. He's there. I mean, look. The U.S. military is so inactive. They're stretching out. They're warming up. You need a strong, active military. And Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are not wasting any time. This is from Eric Daughtry. Let me rewind this for you. Shared from Dan Scavino, the official White House account, the assistant to the president and White House deputy chief of staff. So this is an account you want to keep your eye on. This is officially put out here. Eric Daughtry says, see it here. Trump ordered the strike on the Houthis in Yemen. Let's full screen this. There goes one, kablam. There goes another, kablam. Oh, I don't even see the bottom one falling. Maybe that comes out of screen. But that's what the U.S. is up to. Is it an unprovoked situation, or is this response after 4 years of being bullied in the region, and it's been messing with the shipping lanes? There's this thought that you're supposed to just kind of allow shipping lanes for international commerce and for, kind of combining security with, I don't know. That you're not supposed to mess up space. It's neutral. You're not supposed to mess up the waters. Don't overfish it. Don't pollute it, and don't terrorize the people or burgle. Don't rob the people going through it or attack them. Josh Brooks, Houthis. Ha! We sunk your aircraft carrier. The Red Sea is closed. USS Harry Truman. 2 hours later, Yemen is now closed. Now the Houthis have left the attack. So there's a lot of video coming. Oh, let me just explain it. There's a lot of videos coming out. So when's the last time you watched signs of strength coming from the United States? The Obama doctrine, the McCain doctrine, the deep state doctrine has been to really create, groups like ISIS. It's like you fund the groups and then you go to war with the groups. It's like, what are you doing? The Mujahideen. in Russia, USSR, bin Laden back in the day. It's strange, but yeah, just seeing all of these videos now. This one here, Ayal Jacoby, U.S. strikes on the Yemeni Houthis are absolutely destroying their terror infrastructure. President Trump is doing what Biden was too weak to, stopping the Houthis who have long destabilized the region by attacking ships and taking hostages. Let's watch this. That's some discussion of that. Developing story. Things have gone hot. Now, did they earn it? I'm willing to say that I don't claim to be an expert. What about you guys in the comments? Kenneth, David, what do you guys think? Where's my there we go. Frankie, what do you think? This Yemen stuff, this Houthi stuff. Is this a necessary response? Is this something that needs to happen to open up the shipping lanes and stop these pirates, these terrorist pirates? The proxy war of Iran on people in the region? Is this preemptive because they're making threats and demands and threatening ships, or is it more about the last 4 years of getting away with as much as they could because Biden was in charge and nobody respected Biden at all? Or even worse, Biden was helping fund this, part of the Obama doctrine. It was something that they wanted to do, but they couldn't really say it, so they worked with it that way. That's the question. So what do you think? Is Yemen something we should be doing, or is Yemen something we should stay the hell out of? Does it make sense, or does it not make sense? Is it a necessary standing up to a bully in the region, or is this more New World Order, never-ending war stuff? Tell me in the comments. What do you think? All right, let's continue. All right, let's shift over to the terrorism domestically here. If I go side by side, yeah, you can see the video. So this is happening everywhere. Charlie Kirk is saying, a special PSA to all the deranged, Trump derangement syndrome and EDS criminals keying to, what's EDS? Oh, Elon derangement syndrome. Teslas have something called Sentry Mode that will automatically record you in the act of vandalizing the car. The internet will make you famous. You will be caught and you will be severely punished. Does anyone recognize this dude who keyed a Tesla at the Dallas airport? So there you go. You know, this is political terrorism. It's not that you can have a different opinion than the leftist. It's that they want to ruin you. They want to intimidate you. They want to threaten you. They want to damage your stuff, the stuff you worked really hard to get. They are entitled to disrupt your life because you have a disagreement with them. They, the Democrat deep state, they're destructive. They target you. They go after you. They want to destroy you because you don't agree on every issue. That's called terrorism. That's bullshit. That's something we are absolutely sick of putting up with in this country. Sick of it. It is part of the Obama doctrine of division. So, there you go. That's another question. Do any of you drive a Tesla? And if so, have you changed your driving and parking habits? I had a conversation with somebody just saying this is the stupidest damn thing, but it's happening around me. And I saved up. I've spent a lot of money on this. I don't want to. Why is this happening? Who are these damn people that are messing with my life now? I didn't do anything to them. And they're angry at them as they should be because they're domestic terrorists. You're going after Doge because they're shutting off the free money laundering supply. Allegedly. Allegedly. So that's happening. Let's listen to Scott Bessent. Here's what happened with the IRS whistleblowers. Check this out.
The culture of being able to come forward when you see wrongdoing is a central part of our democracy. I saw these two fellows before the president's address to Congress, in Speaker Johnson's office, they came over to me and said, you know, sir, we're still being harassed. And I had been in touch with Senator Grassley about what was happening to them, but seeing them in person really brought it home for me. So I went and decided I would bring them into Treasury, give them a year to investigate the wrongdoing that's going on at the IRS, and then they will go back in. Mr. Shapley will serve as the senior deputy for investigation and enforcement. So we'll have them in Treasury. We'll learn what's been going on at the IRS, what's been wrong, how could this Hunter Biden nonsense have happened, and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone again, whether they're Republicans, Democrats, or independents.
There you go. How about that? Are we going to actually get some stuff changing? Some repairs? We're going to find out, aren't we? Yeah. I just had to deal with tax day yesterday. Do not get me started. No. Okay. Well, I'm going to move on. The long and short of it is I was on the West Coast when COVID hit, living in the East Coast, and I filed 3 years at a time because travel wasn't easy and my documents were elsewhere, and I was renting I moved out of there eventually, went and got my stuff, but then I still had to put it all together and go through it, and I couldn't really easily go to my tax preparer's office because they were 2,000 miles away, and COVID and an extension turned into several. And so I filed 3 years at a time. And I was told 15 months ago that in 9 weeks, I'd be getting my refund for 2019 from 2019. 2019 people. So don't get me started on what's going on at the IRS, and don't forget what was intentionally leaked. You could say released, just like the lab leak. It wasn't a lab leak in Wuhan. It was a release in Wuhan. All of your data was leaked by not everybody, but there were, 400,000, almost half, something like 400,000, 100,000, I forget the number. Information leaked because the Obama doctrine was to weaponize every department of justice. Every department of the government was weaponized to attack their political opponents. That's where you're getting this domestic terrorism from. It's coming from Obama. It's the Obama doctrine. He's not some nice guy. And I told Michelle, if you could, if I could have the chance to fundamentally transform the United States of America, I would, into a Marxist hellscape of my own creation, because real socialism just hasn't been tried before. And if given the chance, I would execute the plan for George Soros and the World Economic Forum and the New World Order to just absolutely destroy the United States. And that's what the Obama doctrine was. They weaponized every angle of the United States government against normal people, good people, the precursor to MAGA people. But he's been messing with you since 2008, 2009. He's never stopped. And it's not just he, like he's got a magic wand doing it by himself. It's his whole team. He's part mastermind with Soros and the other funders, Act Blue and all the other money laundering places, the NGOs. He's a puppet, but he's one of the most prominent puppets. They called me a puppet. I said, Joe, why are you calling me a puppet? Anyway, yeah, ask his chef. Ask his chef for some more information. All right. So, yeah, much needed cultural reform in the IRS. Veteran civil servants joining to help further the agency's focus on collections, modernization, and customer service. The customer service has been awful. You call them and they put you on hold for an hour, and then they cancel the call. Then they transfer you from one department to the next department, and then you're holding for an hour 15, and then the call just drops. That's what they do. They just pass you around. Nobody takes. I said, I've escalated this to the top level. What manager has this as an open red flag account, and they don't get to wash their hands until this is cleared out of their system? There is no such person. This administration is terrible. So I'm completely in favor of making some changes. This is in the running for the best Babylon Bee headline of all time. Did you see this one? We shared this on the New American Media Instagram page. It says, federal judge orders astronauts be returned to space station. Federal judge orders astronauts be returned to space station. All right. Come on. Does it get any better than this? Because once again, you saw that a judge was trying to say, oh, no, President Trump, we are the president now. No, we're not going to let you deport these illegal alien gang members in the federal penitentiary or whatever justice system. In the judicial system. Was that Dana Carvey? The judicial system. I think it was. And he tried to tell Bukele, we want those prisoners back. We want more illegal alien violent gang members in America. Yeah, that's the party of the Democrats. Who is supporting the Democrat Party? I think Roseanne said we're past the point of trying to reason with these people. You point and laugh. It's just like, what are you even doing? So that was one of the best that I've ever seen. Federal judge orders astronauts to be returned to space station. Nick Sorter saying, holy crap, Trump is refusing to allow activist judges who are undermining his power of president. So the DOJ slammed the hammer down on the judge attempting to block the deportations of Tren de Aragua. Plaintiffs cannot use these proceedings to interfere with the president's national security and foreign affairs authority, and the court lacks jurisdiction to do so. The court should vacate the hearing and de-escalate the grave incursions on executive branch authority that have already arisen. And this is what I voted for, says Nick. Here's somebody. Democrats are training illegals and their families to avoid arrest and how to resist once in custody. This is not safe for federal agents and someone is going to get hurt. Elon says Democrats are doing this because they plan to use illegals to turn America into a permanent single-party
why are you guys
state.
holding them like that, man? Why are you guys taking them? Hey, do you guys have a warrant to even be in here?
Do you want to get arrested too?
No, I just want you
back
to...
up and let me do my job.
I want you to show me proof.
You're not a lawyer, I'm not doing that.
I want you to show me proof.
I mean, that's a fair question. Is there a responsibility for them to have to give a copy of the warrant? Why shouldn't they have extra copies to hand to people and say, call this number, this is where they're going to be booked, this is where you find them? Why aren't they showing that they have an actual warrant to arrest the person? I think that's a fair question to ask, because Obama's team, or Biden's team could could snatch you up out of a parking lot one day. You should be able to, if you request to see someone's badge and the documents, tell me under what reason is this person being, if what we're watching is a deportation and they know who they have. But, we can get some more information about this. He's holding her shoe as a weapon, I assume.
No, you don't. Hey, don't push her. Hey.
And they're not letting him close his door. Is this an unmarked car? Well, that's not good. Why'd you let him take evidence away?
I need proof that why is that taking him?
And it is an unmarked vehicle. So there's the internet, do your thing. There's the license plate. Yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be done just being kidnapped into a plain black car without having any information. I can agree with that. I could be in favor of rounding up the people that are not legally allowed to be here, and also saying, you should have verification. It should say what you are on your vehicle, and you should have documentation. Here's Conor McGregor talking. Well, you can watch it if you want. It's high time America was made aware of what's going on in Ireland, he says.
You know, I'll be having.
We wish with the United States to continue, and we wish to be taken care of by the big bro.
We wish to be taken care of by the big bro. The Irish government has destroyed Ireland through immigration, and friendly media coverage has enabled it. Conor McGregor just told the whole world what's going on here. So that's a problem. Allegedly today we're supposed to get, well, here, let's hear President Trump in his own
Back
words.
the capital, part of the fabric of D.C. and the capital. We're bringing back the capital. We're bringing back our country. But while we're here, I thought it would be appropriate. We are tomorrow announcing and giving all of the Kennedy files. So people have been waiting for decades for this. And I've instructed my
62
people
years.
That are responsible. Lots of different people put together by Tulsi Gabbard. And that's going to be released tomorrow. We have a tremendous amount of paper. You've got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything. I said, just don't redact. You can't redact. But we're going to be releasing the JFK files, and that would be tomorrow. Do you have anything else to add to that, Carolyn? So that's a big announcement. They've been waiting for that for decades. Then I said during the campaign I'd do it, and I'm a man of my word. So tomorrow you have the JFK files. What time will they be released? Tomorrow afternoon, okay?
That could happen while we're wrapping
I've
today's
heard
show.
about
This show's going to be a little quick today. But by the way, how great is Tom Homan? So if the JFK files come out, send me a message in the comments section. I'll see if I can just highlight whatever pops fast. Tom Homan, this is how you answer questions. It is so nice to just take the narrative back.
You say to those who claim you're using a 200-year-old law.
He's asked, what do you say to those who say you're using a 200-year-old law, that the Alien, what is it, the Alien Act? What do you say to the people that say you're using a 200-year-old law to deport these people? Tom Homan goes, well, here you go. There you are.
To circumvent due process.
An old law? Not as old as the Constitution. We still pay attention to that, don't we?
An old law? Yeah, not as old as the Constitution, and we still pay attention to that. I had to mute this Biggie song. Actually, this Biggie song might be the one that Alfonso Ribeiro sang in between the final round and the second final round when I was on a game show with him called Catch 21. If you guys go back in the archives, you can find that. And he starts rapping. He's like, we have like 10, 15, 20 minutes to get recalibrate. I went from that set to this set behind the studio audience. The lights were on. I had to stand on this mark, and you got the questions, and you had to kind of combine and try to catch 21. And I think it was Biggie, 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 can't you see? Dude, and he's dropping N-bombs, F-bombs. I'm like, Carlton, what are you doing? It wrecked my little brain. I'm trying to focus and just get ready to zone out and just kind of be in the flow so I can win some money on a game show. And I got Carlton dropping N-bombs and F-bombs. I didn't even know how to. But I think that was a song that was playing behind Tom Homan there. But yeah. Oh, an old law. It's not as old as the Constitution. So by the way, here, check this out. Just the Trump staff is the greatest at redirecting the talking points back to where they're supposed to be. It's an art form. But here's Carolyn Levitt, and then talking to Peter Ducey. Here's the question.
There is now a member of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back. So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's...
And by the way, her message there, it just reminds me of the Simpsons with Sideshow Bob. Councilman Les Winan criticized your blah, blah, blah policy. Well, Councilman Les Winan ought to do more thinking and less whining. Wait a minute. There's no Councilman Les Winan. Yeah, but it's a good line, though. Voiced by Kelsey Grammer, who, when I met him, I thanked him for his work, and he said, "What's your favorite? For what role?" I said, "Sideshow Bob." It's one of my favorite characters of all time. There's a lot of depth to that character. Brought in a lot of like government conspiracy stuff, some really dark angles. The Cape Fear episode. Councilman Les Winan has criticized your policy on. So anyway, her response saying, "My message to the unnamed so-and-so is," and she's got like the zinger like wound up. Just, I mean, perfect. The home run ball.
Going to send the Statue of Liberty back.
Are we going to send the Statue of Liberty back
to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful to our great country.
La da 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 da. I gotta mute it. Yeah, that's where she gets her thug life. That's where she gets her thug life from. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Carolyn Levitt. So yeah, between Tom Homan and Carolyn Levitt, it's so nice. Now here's Conor McGregor. he's just very handsy about Trump. He's that kind of guy. He's an MMA fighter guy, you know. But here's what Conor McGregor said to President Trump on St. Patrick's Day.
Nice kids, nice suit. It's one of my own. I guess you want to do it. Congratulations, sir. I tell you what, your work ethic is inspiring. Your work rate is inspiring. Please share it.
If you didn't catch, I'm going to play it one more time.
Work ethic is inspiring.
Ready, right here.
Your work ethic is inspiring.
Hold on.
Congratulations, sir. I tell you what, your work ethic is inspiring. Your work rate is inspiring. Please share it.
Yeah, and the best way to become a fan of Trump, you are fantastic. You know, you got to compliment Trump. You got to thank him for something or congratulate him or call something out, and like, you know, it's impressive what you do here. It's appreciated. If there's anybody that deserves to hear a little bit of GD appreciation, it's President Trump for what he's been able to do. Not perfect candidate, hasn't done everything right. Listen to Fauci too much spending. I get it. Like, there's plenty of areas. But yeah, for Conor McGregor to say your work ethic is inspiring. We've never seen a president work this hard before. Trump is the consummate businessman. He is non-stop. Early morning, late night, everything in between, working on the golf course. Go, 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 go. Get stuff done. Get stuff done. Get stuff done. That is exactly what you want as a leader for your country. And I actually think it's time to carve him on Mount Rushmore. I'm sick of it. They tried to off him a couple months ago. Give him a couple flowers while he's here to see it. You know how you kept Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame? Maybe President Trump coming out saying that wasn't right, and let's get him in now. Because he sees himself as wrongly... In my head, I nailed this. Wrongly railroaded out of an agenda or out of a legacy while he was here. You know, accusations, was it ever proven? And you just petty spite, and you just give him an asterisk, but put him in the Hall of Fame. Come on, he's the all-time hits leader. You know, President Trump has been accused of all sorts of stuff. Any of it true? What that he's been accused of has stuck. Really, what has stuck? And how much of the rest was just a political hit job trying to destroy him? Mount Russia. No, not Mount Russia. Mount Rushmore. He's a Putin puppet. Well, he's given a lot of encouragement to people across Europe and basically everywhere. From Bolsonaro in Brazil to Bukele in El Salvador. Pierre Poilievre up in Canada, to really just take back your government from these globalists that hate you, that are overrunning your country with non-citizens to permanently alter the demographic and the social fabric of the nation, change the rules, laws, regulations, policies. Yeah, put him on Mount Rushmore while he's here. Insurrection Barbie says, and I ran into this. At the Capitol, at the National Mall on inauguration, they had a big protest. The Women's March turned into the Person's March. Okay, now you're erasing women. That makes sense. Just like the Cleveland Indians deleting the fact that we were the first team to break the Indian barrier with Louis Sock Alexis. Cleveland Indians also had the first black player in the American League, Larry Doby, the very first black manager, Frank Robinson. The Indians were deleted. All that cultural history, all that tradition, just lost, whitewashed away. There was someone that had a sign that said, "I hate Elon." I'm like, well, why? Like, because he's Elon Musk. You didn't explain. You just defined his name. Why the hate for Tesla and Elon? These people don't even know why they hate him. They just know that he's aligned with Trump. And if someone's against you, they need to be destroyed. It's a mind virus. You're supposed to be allowed to have differing opinions in the country. I will destroy people that disagree with me. This cancel culture, this DEI, this woke stuff. It goes by a lot of different names, and there's a lot of Venn diagram overlap. But Insurrection Barbie here says the left cannot name one thing they hate Elon Musk for. They cannot name one thing he has taken away from them, or one thing he has done to earn their insane ire. History will study this deranged cult-like behavior. Elon says, my companies make great products that people love, and I've never physically hurt anyone. So why the hate and violence against me? Because I'm a deadly threat to the woke mind parasite and the humans that it controls. So there you go. This person said they got swatted. Just be careful of being swatted. Have some device where you can watch and listen from your entrances. Have some sort of device, a system at play, so that you can keep an eye on things. By the way, here's more on what Conor McGregor had to say yesterday.
What is going on in Ireland is a travesty. Our government is the government of zero action with zero accountability. You know, our money is being spent on overseas issues that has nothing to do with the Irish people. The illegal immigration racket is running ravage on the country. There are rural towns in Ireland that have been overrun in one swoop, that have become a minority in one swoop. So issues need to be addressed, and the 40 million Irish Americans, as I said, need to hear this, because if not, there will be no place to come home and visit.
Protect your homeland or lose your homeland. Europe is being invaded. That's part of the Obama doctrine. So yeah, there's Reuters Asia showing about NASA's SpaceX crew. Yeah, you know what? Let me just give you this as well. The other topic I wanted to get to today, it's just, look, they're still debating the Autopen. Can all of the pardons be thrown out? President Trump yesterday said that they're invalid. And we'll see. Oh, by the way, here's what Trump said about the Houthis. Let nobody be fooled. The hundreds of attacks being made by Houthi, the sinister mobsters and thugs based in Yemen, who are hated by the Yemeni people, all emanate from and are created by Iran. So that's like an NGO. You get your money and then you fund your brown shirts. You fund your terrorist groups over here. Any further attack or retaliation by the Houthis will be met with great force, and there is no guarantee that the force will stop there. Iran has played the innocent victim of rogue terrorists from which they've lost control, but they haven't lost control. They're dictating every move, giving them the weapons, supplying them with money and highly sophisticated military equipment, and even so-called intelligence. Every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran. And Iran will be held responsible and suffer the consequences, and those consequences will be dire. So there you have it. All right. What was, by the way, just a reminder that Biden and Obama used to say this, like they basically started Doge.
Everybody also agrees, I got from this morning, but I think we had before, that we waste a heck of a lot of money, and that somewhere around a third of all the dollars we spend on Medicare goes for nothing useful. We're not cutting Medicare benefits in this. We're trying to eliminate the third of the problem that's a waste, and this is a big entitlement. It's a big entitlement. Medicare. It exists. We got to figure out how to keep it from bankrupting the country without denying seniors what they're entitled to.
So there you go. Keep all of that in mind. I think that was all I had for you today. I think we're going to wrap up at the moment. So thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow. I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock. Like I said, at some point, I'm going to move this to an evening show. Maybe that would work better for everyone's schedule. I don't know. But just kind of keep your eyes peeled. We'll go live on YouTube. You'll see it on X. You'll see it on Rumble. And we'll talk to you more then. Yeah, I didn't even go through my Instagram feed. That's for another time, another day. There's a lot of good stuff on it. Let me do a lightning round. Lightning round. God, there's so much to get to. Marco Rubio.
Watch the news. These guys take over entire buildings.
This was the conversation about free speech versus domestic terrorism from the left, from the deep state, from the Obama doctrine. The paid agitators. Talking about the college kids. Mahmoud Khalil.
They vandalized colleges.
Intensely.
They shut down colleges.
I'm asking about the specific justification for the revocation of his visa.
She's defending. Why would you take this guy's visa?
Is there any evidence of material support for terrorism?
Was the negotiator negotiating on behalf of people that took over a campus?
So he became the negotiator for the people that took over that took over buildings on their campus in acts of terrorism.
That vandalized buildings? Negotiating over what? That's a crime in and of itself, that they're involved in being the negotiator, the spoke.
And you could say, hold on, I was trying to break up a fight at recess. I was trying to negotiate something to stop here. I'm just listening to what they're saying and trying to have a dialogue. So then the question is, do you believe that? Would you buy that story? I don't know.
Spokesperson, this, that, the other. We don't want it. We don't need these people in our country. We never should have allowed him in the first place. If he had told us, I'm going over there and I'm going over there to become the spokesperson and one of the leaders of a movement that's going to turn one of your allegedly elite colleges upside down, people can't even go to school, library buildings being vandalized, we never would have let him in. We never would have let him in to begin with. And now that he's doing it and he's here, he's going to leave, and so are others, and we're going to keep doing it. And by the way, I find it ironic that a lot of these people out there defending the First Amendment speech, alleged free speech rights of these Hamas sympathizers, they had no problem, pressuring social media to censor American political speech.
Oh, that's a good point. We were censored like crazy for the past 5 years. We being normal people.
So I think it's ironic and hypocritical. But the bottom line is this. If you are in this country to promote Hamas, to promote terrorist organizations, to participate in vandalism, to participate in acts of rebellion and riots on campus, we never would have let you in if we had known that. You should watch.
All right. So there's that. All right. Let's tear through our Instagram feed. Oh, here's another great job by Carolyn Levitt. Talking about the Autopen story, that maybe we can overturn the pardons of Fauci and the J6 committee. Lord willing, we can go after the Biden crime family, Obama, Hillary, Act Blue, all of it.
About issuing preemptive pardons to these people.
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden White House.
That's a question you should ask the Biden White House. And she goes, do you have any evidence on that?
On that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out.
Okay,
Sean.
So I have a question on the talking about.
You're a reporter. You should find out.
Pardons to these people.
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden White House.
Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out.
Okay,
Sean.
And there's a reason you're supposed to sign this stuff in public, and it's supposed to be documented. Here's anti-Elon protesters. Well, assaulting somebody. I can't forward it. It's just an assault. Just be aware of what's going on, and the left is unhinged. On today's 5-year anniversary of 2 weeks to slow the spread, remember that? Take a moment to salute these two kings. The Bakersfield doctors tried to warn us. You can watch that on Instagram. That's only going to be available for the next 5 hours. So if you're not following the New American Media on Instagram, follow the New American Media on Instagram. And in the stories up top, we post all of these stories for you to watch. But then they have a 24-hour expiration. Yep. You tell France the only reason they're not speaking German right now is because of America. We're keeping our Statue of Liberty. Oh, here's another one. Stephen Miller's always good for a soundbite.
Called the judge's order just earlier today, quote, patently unlawful.
The judge's order to return illegal alien Trinidad criminals.
End quote, and said that it was an assault on democracy itself. Does that mean that the administration is ignoring this order, and might you ignore future court orders that meet the criteria you laid out?
The President of the United States and his administration reserve all rights under the Constitution to conduct national security operations in defense of the United States. The Alien Enemies Act, which was passed into law.
Alien Enemies Act. That it wasn't the Alien and Sedition Act. The Alien Enemies Act passed into law. Was it 1789?
By the founding generation of this country, men like John Adams, was written explicitly to give the president the authority to repel an alien invasion of the United States. That is not something that a district court judge has any authority whatsoever to interfere with, to enjoin, to restrict, or to restrain any way. You can read the law yourself. There's not one clause in that law that makes it subject to judicial review, let alone district court review.
So you called the judge's order.
Bam. You know, they're trying to stop Trump at every turn. Here's something to just keep your eyes peeled on. The Daily Beast. New revelations reveal how Trump reportedly offered a female congresswoman his bed as long as she kept it a secret from his wife. Have you heard that? Anna Paulina Luna. Before that says, welp, looks like community notes needed on this post because you're leaving out a lot of details like her being pregnant on purpose. Anna Paulina Luna. She was very pregnant, experiencing preeclampsia. She didn't feel well. President Trump, when she boarded the plane, being the gentleman and good person that he is, says if she doesn't feel well, she can use the back room. He did this in a respectful way and in front of my husband, of which we thanked him. He also assured me they have a medical team on board in case anything happened, and they were aware of how pregnant I was. This is the most compassionate thing that could have been done at the time. It's disgusting the author fails to recognize that. A few weeks later, I was induced because I did have preeclampsia. The author of this book never reached out to me for comment, which means that this book is likely going to be a shit hit piece. If people in POTUS orbit are talking to this author, they need to be cut off immediately. This is gross. Allegedly, Eric Forster. Oh, pronouns in the title. Okay, that feels about right. He, him. Daily Beast. Oh, Berkeley. That feels right. Early career journalist covering politics, LGBT plus community, Asian American issues, BA in Global Studies from Berkeley. So anyway, if you see that story about Trump offering his bed to a congresswoman, just maybe it's that story and screw them. Biden's $1 billion quid pro quo Joe.
You remember when Joe Biden was at the Council on Foreign Relations and bragged that he got the top prosecutor in Ukraine fired by the Ukrainian government because he explicitly conditioned the firing of the prosecutor who was investigating Burisma. He expressly conditioned their receipt of $1 billion in U.S. financial assistance on the firing of Viktor Shokin, the prosecutor. And he said, son of a b, he was...
it's so crazy watching him brag about that publicly. It just shows you what an idiot he is.
You know what that $1 billion in financial assistance was? It was a USAID grant. Yeah, it's the carrots and sticks, and it's like
find that video because it's a shocking video. It's just the hubris that and the ego that someone has to have to speak of this publicly while it's being filmed, not just publicly, not just in a room, not even just saying it out loud, but saying it in front of the Council of Foreign Relations backdrop.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Do you remember when Joe Biden was at the Council on Foreign Relations and bragged that
remember, that's Joe Biden, everybody. Yep, and just like that, the left and media don't care about egg prices. They never really did. Just remember. Check this out. We're the bad guys. We are the bad guys. We never pay for protests and have had one riot ever. We don't swap people. We never call for the assassination or harm of others. We don't burn down businesses. We don't key cars. We don't damage property ever. We accept everyone and anyone can join us. We want lower taxes, smaller government, and an end to waste and theft. We love our families and love God. We want everyone to live in peace. We hate war and terrorism. We believe in the law and respect those that risk their lives to protect us. According to the people that hate all of the above, who control the media and half of all politicians in this country, we're the bad guys. I'm 100% okay with that. And I'm going to put a 100% okay with that button. That's pretty well said. Yes, this is what's happening. Activist judges, this is shared from Representative Eli Crane. Activist judges are trying to block President Trump from deporting foreign gangsters, auditing federal spending, and halting payments to corrupt entities. Did I not share that? Maybe I did. I think I did. These partisan rulings violate the president's Article 2 powers. John Bates, Paul Ingle Mayer, don't confuse him with me. John McConnell Jr., James Bosaberg. All right. They're all getting in the way, trying to mess things up. This guy says Joe Biden committed a crime in front of me. Talking to the FBI. You can watch that on our Instagram feed. Hey, here's a reminder. The left said climate change was so important that they should be able to rip out all your gas appliances, ban your gas vehicle, tax you into oblivion for it. Now they're torching Teslas. It was never about the climate. It was always about controlling you. And here it is. Elon's being asked, what's responsible for these Tesla attacks?
Think there are foreign entities behind this? Do you think there
by Ted Cruz?
There are domestic entities behind the threats and also the attacks to Twitter, or not Twitter, Tesla?
No, and there were plenty of attacks to Twitter when you tried to starve them of revenue by slandering them. It's what you've done to Rumble. It's what you did to all of us independent content creators because we weren't allowed to cover the news. Only the pre-approved people, the lying legacy media, they're allowed to cover the news, but we can't make money or sell advertising revenue on it. Yeah, this was happening on a lot of places, every place, really.
I mean,
not just Tesla. Tesla's just more fiery.
You're getting Tesla's charging stations lit on fire. Do you think that's organized and paid for?
Yes, at least some of it is organized and paid for. I think by domestic, basically left-wing organizations in America, funded by left-wing billionaires, essentially.
Is it like Act Blue or what?
Act Blue is one of them. Arabella, the classic. It's funded by the blue, basically the left-wing NGO cabal.
Do you think there are
the NGO cabal? Secretary Sean Duffy is launching a full investigation into the DEI hiring allegations at the FAA immediately. If true, swift accountability will come for those responsible. We need the best and brightest, not buzzword DEI hires. In response to a leaked audio of DEI activists sharing air traffic controller exam answers with minority candidates. The entire batch of people that could be contaminated there need to be retested. And you know what? Maybe if they don't pass the test, maybe they're I don't know, or maybe they're booted if they can't. I don't know. You don't allow anyone to continue in that role until they're retested. I know that much. Where we go from there, are they banned from holding the job again, or do they get a chance to take one more lesson and get it right? I don't know. But I recently heard a video of an air traffic controller lady arguing with the pilot. He's like, in 45 years, nobody's ever said that to me. She's like, well, I Googled it. He's like, I don't care what you did. That's not how we do it, and we can take it up when we land. But I'm doing the approach how I'm supposed to do the approach. If there's incompetent people managing what's happening in the skies, that needs to be corrected ASAP, and you need to pull everybody off and check them. Just like the illegal alien invasion. It's just like promoting in a nightclub. People snuck in the side door. There could be underage. They could have weapons. They might not have paid their cover charge. Everybody out, empty the room, go around, stand in line, show your identification card, get the hand stamp, get the wristband, pay your cover charge, and you can come back in. So maybe it's not a fireable offense. Like, you're banned. You guys can't come in here. Like, it's just the girlfriend of the band members. They don't want to pay $10 a head. I get it. But, also the promoters have to pay their overhead. They're paying the door guy. They're paying the sound person. They got a bartender. They have a minimum they got to hit. Like, it's all part of an equation. So keep your eyes peeled on that story. Hold on. Where did this story go? Oh, okay. Here we go. And here's why Democrats are nervous, because we're exposing their racket.
Opine just for a second on why my Democrat colleagues on the other side are so nervous about all this Doge stuff. It's because this racket that's been used to launder taxpayer dollars to their buddies and their left-wing radical groups, the gravy train is stopping. And it's terrifying to them, but to normal people in real America, they think this stuff is crazy. And finally, we have somebody in the Oval Office with a team who can root this stuff out. So keep going. We're just getting started with this stuff, and we'll be back next week with more ridiculous things that the Democrats want funded with your taxpayer dollars. I yield back, Mr. President. And let me just opine just for a second on why my Democrat colleagues on the other side are so nervous about all this Doge stuff.
Trying to pause it.
It's because...
There we go. Yep, that's why they're nervous. That's why they're lashing out. Oh, yeah, check this out. Do you agree with her or disagree with her?
It is hard to imagine anything more un-American than that. The Trump administration's immigration policy is a threat to immigrants like criminals. America is too great to fall prey to Donald Trump's anti-immigrant agenda. We need to restore basic humanity to our immigration system, and that starts with repealing the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 with Our Neighbors Not Enemies Act. Together, we will end this xenophobic law once and for all. It is hard to imagine anything more un-American.
Illegal alien sympathizers have, and she allegedly married her brother in an act of immigration fraud. So she needs to be investigated immediately. Here's more about the Autopen.
So go back to the last summer. We're sitting around and we're involved in a lot of litigation surrounding issues of Biden's competency, particularly the interview he had with special counsel Hur, who found him incompetent to stand trial. We want the audio tape of that interview, and we're going to get it. But also, we were really concerned about the switcheroo that was coming between him and Harris. And we had flagged some very serious concerns about the logistics of being able to do that, so much that the DNC had to move up the coordination and skip a whole primary for Harris and just put her in there to get ahead of the deadlines that we had flagged. So in the context of those conversations centering in on certainly his competence, one of our team members said, I don't think he's signing these things. And so we undertook a very laborious process to go and start pulling the documents. And
this is a legitimate concern. The reason you do this on video and you show actually signing it is because you're required to be very aware of what's happening. And we know Biden's been out to lunch. He wasn't all together 5 years ago when he was air quote campaigning, when they were hiding him in the basement because he was a nut job, an elderly man with dementia signals. No, who was really running the presidency?
And comparing, and it was pretty clear he was prolifically using the Autopen. Now you fast forward, about half a year plus, Trump has won. It's kind of, out of mind, out of sight. And then Attorney General Andrew Bailey weighs in on X, and he sent a letter concerning the issue of Biden's competency. And we decided to release the research we had at that point in time, which pointed to a prolific use of the Autopen. Subsequently, we did a bunch of signature comparisons and have looked at more documents and really centered in on the pardons as being the most legally suspect. As you mentioned in your monologue, I think it's an open question as to whether they can be autopenned at all, let alone be autopenned by somebody without the knowledge of the president. And I don't think President Biden had, one, functional awareness, and two, the cognitive awareness of what was happening, particularly in the dying days of the administration where people were lobbying for these pardons. Some people got them, some people did not. You remember Vindman was pretty burned by it. Someone else is making the decision as to who got them. And now that Trump has determined them to be null and void from the executive branch's view, we can start to figure out through the legal process who was actually running the presidency. In other words, who was the president in the last 4 years? So go back to the last summer. We're sitting around.
So there you go. This might be what you need.
It was approximately
Carolyn Levitt.
$6 million to El Salvador for the detention of these foreign terrorists. And I would point out that is pennies on the dollar in comparison to the cost of life and the cost it would impose on the American taxpayer to house these terrorists in maximum security prisons here in the United States of America. And I would echo the message of our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who expressed his gratitude to President Bukele and El Salvador's government for their cooperation in this deal.
That's pretty awesome. These are illegal alien invaders that are committing crimes in our country. Get them out. Get them gone. Autopen and teller. There you go. All right. That is what I had. There's a little bit of extra time I was able to finagle for you, but check out the rest of our stories on Instagram, The New American Media. It's all scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, YouTube. Search The New American Media and subscribe to us. On Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat, TNAM, TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X at American_media_. And find the Agree to Disagree Show podcast on Spotify and Apple. If you're on Patreon and want to buy us a cup of coffee each month, or a couple cups of coffee, or a bunch of coffee, that's patreon.com/The New American Media. On Venmo at Brian Engelman, PayPal at Fuzz Installment, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman. That is all scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Thank you to everyone who jumped in today. Frankie and Kenneth and David, all of you. We'll be back again tomorrow. And like I said, keep your eyes peeled. We might start doing some evening shows. And who knows what type of content we'll get into in the evening shows. Will it be more like Coast to Coast AM? Will it be more of a straight news show? Will we incorporate other things? I don't know, maybe. But we're also going to have special episodes with special guests coming up. Keep your eyes peeled. More to come. I'm going to sign out for now. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.